special presentation.
From the Captain eSports Network.
This isn't just a game, this is iRacing. Last time we were at this racetrack, we saw a very interesting finish to a pretty crazy race, and I'm not even talking about the Cup race. I'm talking about the Sim500 NCAA11.org Cup Series race here back in May. We'll talk about that here in just a few moments, but tonight we will officially name the 20 drivers that will race in the playoffs of the Sim500 Cup Series season in 2024, as tonight the 26th and final race, as over 40 drivers have been in a Sim500 race this season, and it comes down to tonight to get yourself into that top 20 spot in points to be eligible to race for the championship coming up in about 10 weeks or so. I am the captain with you, of course, Kevin England joining me as we are at the Kansas Speedway virtually on iRacing for 150 laps and 225 miles here this evening. Kevin, welcome back. Obviously the final day of September as we get ready to go playoff racing, but tonight we got to go tame Toto out here and get ready to go playoff racing.
Scribe attacking this racetrack. It's conservative hustle.
What?
It's a strange combination because you got to take care of your tires.
Right.
This is an everyman's track. Everybody likes this racetrack. Multiple grooves, multiple ways to attack the racetrack. Yet, because of the fact of tire wear, you got to take care of, conservative, your runs. Yet, in order to get ahead, you have to hustle. When you get to a car, you can't waste your time trying to pass them. You need to use the draft. You need to use the lanes. You need to take advantage of the runs. So be conservative, but when the time comes, hustle. And it's going to be a fun race from that standpoint because I think everybody kind of smiles when they pull into the pits here at Kansas Motor Speedway. It's a fun racetrack.
It is a very fun track. It's a lot of drivers' favorites, but also going to be a lot of drivers' not-so-favorites. As we go into qualifying, of course, tonight, presented by 811, know what's below and call before you dig. We'll have a little bit more of a pre-race show afterwards because, of course, we've been extending out the warm-up sessions a little bit due to some server issues and stuff, and obviously we'll get out there on the track for the 2 laps right now to settle who is going to win the pole this evening. Some news here. Obviously, Tyler Dalton isn't here tonight, so he's not going to be the pole sitter. I mean, of course, you could argue that Kevin King would be the pole sitter. I don't see Kevin England either. So, King obviously not here. Kevin is here. I look up there now, I see his name.
Kevin popped in.
I was scrolling through the room. I'm like, I don't see his name. But I know Tyler's not here for sure, and others. So this is going to be a pretty crazy qualifying year to see if Kevin's going to go ahead and take the pole away here, or will somebody lay a lap down, as we will find out. The pole actually in the next-gen car was ran back in 2022 by Brian Macklin at a 31.1. We were 0.3 off of that in practice, so not sure if we're going to get there, but we're sure as heck going to try, as we watched Nelson Rivera bring his number 22 LaRue car off of turn number 4, and he is going to splat into the wall. So he's gonna get a chance to run a second lap because he did not get to the start finish line. So good news for Nelson. As some reason it does not want to click to another driver. So, and Fuller spun over here in turn 2 on his second lap, or on his first lap. So he's not the first one to pull that off. Here's Mark Jorgensen with a 31.75 here so far, Kev. He's going to bring it to the line to be the first to complete that second lap.
Yeah, Jorgensen looks good. We saw at the top of the stack Justin Fuller, but as drivers start to put their laps down, a good one by Robert Friery III and Patrick Colby. They currently sit second and third as drivers roll around this racetrack. We see some of these drivers aborting their runs, similar to what we saw for the 22. They might not like exactly what they have going on, and from their perspective, if they could jam the brakes on, they get one more shot at it to reset and come back around. It's a pretty known thing to do, is the 88 right now is the car to beat.
Patrick Colby second right now. Mike Kelly, Kevin Stone up there in fourth. Chad Coleman, your top 5 is now. Rivera gets the wall, so he's not going to get neither qualifying lap in. The rule behind it is once you cross the start-finish line, basically, that is your first lap. Obviously, from there, however you do is how you do. And then if you don't do well, you come back and try the second lap. And if you do it again, well, now you're in the back. And you're starting back there with a lot of these other guys who seem to be having issues. I've seen Chad Coleman pull off after his second lap now. So the list, unfortunately, of people not running a good first lap or a good lap is getting bigger and bigger here as they just try to get the best they can. Here's King on the track now. As we watch him down to turn 1, going to run up there against the boards.
High side. Cal Tony sitting there in second. He's going to have a good starting spot tonight, as just about everybody is finished. And King trying to build speed on this first lap so that he can go down. I suspect he'll be carving that white line as he comes back to the start-finish line, exiting turn 4 right now, getting all that he can as he drops down.
He got all he could off of 2 and 4 there as he crosses the start-finish line. 31.66 on his first lap, which is actually a pretty good first lap.
He's going to run high.
Yeah, Karlovage, he's 6th. Remember, Jorgensen ran a 75 on lap 1. A lot better turn 2, it looked like, for Kevin there. Down the American
Qualifying-wise, I'm kind of surprised he's running the high line. Most drivers are usually sniffing down there on the white line, but Kevin's got it wound up on the outside. Let's see if it's going to pay off here. Drops down to the apron, right to the grass, crosses the line, and he's going to sneak it in.
Bam. 31.48. He was purple all the way around that track. Let's see, everybody else who's running laps has completed 2. Here's Justin Mons. He's got his final lap right now. He's a 32.05 and 19th right now as Miss Weeks joins us. Hello to you in chat. And hello to the viewers here. If you get a chance, send out your stream links to your friends and family.
Good lap for Medina, currently sitting provisionally in third as we watch Justin Mons hustle his car off of turn 4, right up to the outside fence, right down to the bottom grass. He slips across the line.
And goes faster, but nowhere.
Yeah.
30.52. He is currently 20th out of 21 cars that have logged a lap. Nobody else is on the track right now, so looks like it will be Kevin King winning the pole, which is presented by 811. No, it's below. And Calm Before You Dig. And specifically here, and I think this is a good little transition here, even though there's really not a such thing as a good transition on this topic. But of course, this is North Carolina 811. And we cannot help but think about, as I slam my finger against the keys, cannot help but think about those that were involved in Hurricane Helene that not only went up through the panhandle of Florida, but literally went right up against the Appalachian Mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountains, and all that stuff right there, and the Asheville area, and up through just that region of eastern Tennessee, North Carolina, and have affected so many people. There are towns that are completely gone. There are people missing. Death tolls over 150, I think, now, are getting near there. It's just absolutely devastating. Coming from somebody who's been a part of 4 hurricanes himself, at least. I can't even remember how many I've been a part of, to be honest with you. But just send your thoughts and prayers to those people. And obviously, this is a very good situation right here while you call before you dig at any time, or if you see power lines down or any kind of specific situation due to a storm, you call 811 if you get the opportunity to. But thoughts and prayers with all those. If you know somebody who is helping out there, obviously thank them, because I've been seeing racing teams everywhere. I've seen Hendrick, I've seen Gibbs, I've seen Greg Biffle. I've seen Carl Edwards. I've seen a few others going over to that area and trying to help with whatever they can, and so on and so forth. I mean, if I can find a way to help, I will. But let's definitely think about those people here tonight. So, Kevin, I don't know if you want to add, but
Yeah, just watching that, it's horrific to see the shots in Boone County and the races being canceled out there are the least of the problems in that zone
football
as you're
games,
worried
all that,
about trying to just get people to a normal existence, water, food, shelter, get the fundamentals set, and certainly whatever the NASCAR teams are doing to help that, and just the general populace out there coming together as a community, so important.
Yeah, and we can only do as much as we can here. But I mean, if there's anything more, I mean, heck, I'll bring some kind of special events or whatever if I need to. We'll figure it out. But either way, thoughts and prayers with those people there. Now, let's focus on the race here and try to as much as we can with that in our minds, and look at the point standings here tonight, because as Kevin has left me to do the math, which fools on him. Joke's on him, I guess, be the line to say there. But so we got 20 guys who make the playoffs, and as you see, there's 22 on the screen. So you do the math. That means 2 of these people will not be in the playoffs here tonight, or when this is all over with. Well, let's look at it like this: Richard Beasley crossed off the list. So now we're down to 1 person who will not be on the list in the playoffs tonight, and that 1 person is pretty much going to be between Robert Fryer III, Randy Oakham, and Brian Wortman. As I peek over here at the right side of my screen, Brian Wortman's name is not on. He is on the list, so he is up there in 3rd right now in practice. So he is there. I was just checking, and I see Randy Oakham is in the race also. And let's see, Robert Fryery is in the race. So all 3 are in the race, and there's literally, as you see, a 8-point difference between those 3 drivers, and those are the ones we're going to be watching. Eric Arnold should be pretty safe, depending on his drop week. That's the only thing that comes into play here, is that drop and where that falls in. So Beasley's out due to rules of you cannot miss more than 4 races in a season. So that leaves Arnold, Fryery, Yoakum, Wortman. Those guys in that area are pretty much the bubble guys here tonight. So we're going to be watching that kind of closely here tonight. But the rest of the guys in the playoffs officially starting next week, and should be ready to go. So, Kevin, did I help your math out?
Thank you for that.
just checking. So
I've been watching the social media posts of some of the drivers. They are nervous. They're nervous coming in here. They know what's at stake, and I do believe that they're riding with situational awareness tonight as to, just making sure they worked all season to make it into the championship. It would be a disappointment, and unfortunately, not all of them are going to get in. So the 3 of them, we're going to keep updates all night long.
There you go. Well, let's go trackside for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, the lineup is ready to go as the cars roll off as they get ready for 225 miles around this 1.5 mile track. As it feels like this has been the starting lineup for a lot of races this season as we look at it. Kevin King on the pole, Mark Jorgensen Jr. on his outside. Mark uses Kevin as his rabbit, basically, so to say, as he tries to get out there and outruns him. How about the qualifying effort for the funky Cole Medina? Jose Medina finished starting third alongside Anthony Calantoni, David Comstock, Patrick Colby there in row 3. Jason Karlovage in row number 4. He'll start alongside Wesley Donaldson, Bobby Wetzel, Scott Stenzel with a good qualifying effort. Good to see him back. Mike Kelly, Charles Van Schaik in row 6. Kevin Stone and Jose Speedy Gonzalez there in row number 7 as we fly through our starting lineup here because we're already coming through turn 3 and 4. See Fuller down there in the 22nd position. Josh Parker, 27th as per usual. He'll be starting without a qualifying effort. So is Brian Wortman. One to watch there as we got 34 cars ready to go for 150 laps, 3 sets of tires, 2 cautions, or 2 overtimes. Well, 2 cautions would be a good race too. Kevin, bring them home.
Tree, the cars go up through the gears, roll into turn number 1. Right now, everybody running side by side. The low line here, you don't even have to lift. You can just come up through the gears, the grip in the tires, let you just mat it to the backstretch. The high line should have the run on the outside. You're going to see who has the advantage. King gonna nose ahead going into turn 3. Here comes the charge from Jorgensen Jr. But the 29, a little bit too strong. Out of turn 4, it's going to be Kevin King leading him back to the line for lap number 1.
Jose Medina gets a little loose there off of turn 3 and 4, but we stay green. And King leads that first lap. As you mentioned, our camera is presented by TrackCams22.com. They are online on the Facebook page and also in the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. As Karlovage into the wall already with a tank slapper, as he might have pushed up there a little bit. Very easy to do around turn 2 as they're already 3 wide. You see Wetzel, you see Kelly, you see Karlovage, you see Charles Van Schaik, the Michigan winner there behind them. As we complete lap number 2 in this race, and a pretty crazy start already.
Yeah, a lot of grip in this racetrack. Top, bottom, in between. There's a bump up high in turn number 1 where a lot of drivers roll in, wait to hit that bump. It kind of helps the car turn, and they can move the car down. Really, the trouble spots are running wide. You run so hard up off the corner to carry speed to the front stretch or back stretch that the car can slip, push, slide all the way out, connect the outside wall, and you will bounce off the wall, and running with damage here is just going to ruin your day.
The draft model in these cars are very strong. That's why you're going to see a lot of these cars kind of together here early in this race, and it looks like a choo-choo train there on the inside lane as Kelly makes that move to the top side there at about the 10th position. Otherwise, everybody pretty much single file until you get to mid-pack where Fuller starts to work his way through the field. There's Robert Friery in the 77 car looking to lock his way into the playoff race here tonight. And of course, the format in this season series is different than anywhere you've ever been. It'll be 20 drivers for 5 races. At the end of 5 races, we will go grab a machete and we will chop the 20 in half to 10 and run 5 more races for 10 drivers to get the most points scored to win the championship at the end of the 10 races at the Homestead Miami Speedway. So I think it's pretty simple. Score the most points.
That's the way to do it. I see that 51 running back there at 14th. The qualifying effort going to hamper his efforts as he's a hard charger. I heard some words from the Fuller camp in practice about tire wear. That's going to be a concern here. Typically, because of the grip and comfort level of the drivers, we do have long green flag runs. If you have to hustle the car to try and get yourself up in through the pack, you're going to wear those tires out, where if you're up front, you can kind of pick and choose your lane, run on cruise control, and these drivers having to make their way through the field are going to have a little harder go at it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to pass, especially as the tires wear, as you mentioned. That low groove is going to get slower and slower. The high groove is going to be with the way to go eventually as this track kind of opens up, as this track has progressive banking from 18 up to 20 degrees up to the top of this track. And of course, the wall here is like a magnet, so it's kind of something you do not want to get into at all. So you just got to be very careful out here. Take care of your car. You almost want to race the track at one point in this race. I say that as they're 3 wide up here for 4th, as Mike Kelly is on rails right now, already up 8 positions. And Kelly already up to the 3rd position in that number 2 car as he tries to chase down Jorgensen and King, which kind of tells me you wonder if Kelly might be on a shorter strategy, because tonight 150 laps, I've been told you can do about 65 on a tank of fuel. 65 times 2 is 130, 2-stopper. Could Mike Kelly be a 3-stopper potentially? And maybe that's why he's going pretty hard here in these tires.
I think back to previous races for Mike Kelly and know that he had the speed, but he lost so much gap from track position that I think tonight one of his objectives is to get in contact with the leaders and then settle in and ride, or go drive out in front of them and get clean air. But I think he does not want to lose a lot of track position. Is impressed with this early run for Anthony Calantoni. Started 4th, hanging there in 4th, running the high line. And it's interesting to look at the choices these drivers are making. The top 2, King and Jorgensen Jr., running the bottom line. Kelly and Calantoni running the high line. And they may switch it up every end of the speedway. It's just a matter of what your car gives you as these drivers try to navigate the Kansas Motor Speedway.
Tell you what, you could see the difference in people's driving right now. Mike Kelly's going to go to the outside and just go on by for the lead here on lap number 10. Mike Kelly started 11th. Let's look back behind him. Robert Friery is moving up to the 5th position right now as he and Wesley Donaldson are side by side. Robert is up 10 positions, and then Justin Fuller right behind them is up 15 positions. So it's like they're going out there and saying, you know what, we're going to the top and we're just going to go because that's the way to go around here. I think the others is going to ride the bottom lane and say, you know what, we're just going to preserve ourselves here.
Yeah, on the opposite end of the spectrum, Jose Mazina down 10 double digits. Same thing for Kevin Stone and Ron Hollifield, as they are kind of riding conservatively. And one of the plays, that does not mean that those drivers have no speed here tonight. They may be just riding, waiting for the long run to come, for the track to open up, and then with the tire savings, they can march their way forward. So don't count any of the drivers who seem to slip a little bit in the beginning. You have options here at Kansas, and you have to just wait till the run plays out to see which way these drivers are going to end up.
As you see, Calantoni's moved up to the 3rd position now. King, of course, they're still riding in 2nd. Friery up to 4th. Fuller up to 5th. Other cars on the move, surprising here. Josh Parker up 17 spots into the 10th position after his start of the race. So obviously you mentioned the comers and goers. Medina down 11. Kevin Stone down 10. Early in the race, Charles Van Schaik down 6. So the one thing you'll have to watch as we get later on into this race, as you see Calantoni looking to make the dive on King here for 2nd as we ride on board with Friery, is you think eventually those guys are going to rise back to the top and we'll go blown right on back past these guys who are battling for position.
Yeah, look, sitting right there behind him in that number 51, up 18 positions. Justin Fuller is on the march early on here in Kansas. He has railed through the field on that high line, and he is now in touch, making his way into the top 5 for the first time here on lap number 14. And I believe what we saw in the spring, Chris, is he was there lockstep through the whole race. And I believe he wants to make sure he's a factor in this one here tonight.
Yeah, he definitely had his chances to compete in that race earlier this season. And we talked a little bit about that Kansas race that was won by David Comstock in the end. But if you remember back, that was the race that had the controversial finish on a green-white checker restart. Kevin King was leading the race, pulled down below the apron as one car gets way loose back here. That was Mons, I think, in the 41 had to go catch her. But King obviously was penalized for pulling below over the line at the restart. And the win given to Comstock in the end. He was the one to cross the line there and win that race. So obviously, no, that's going to be on the mind of Kevin King here tonight. But Mike Kelly leads right now. Fuller, as you mentioned, 4th. He was last week's winner at the Bristol Motor Speedway in that race, which feels like a year ago, by the way. Like, I was sitting there before the stream started, and I'm like, why does it feel like it's been so long since I broadcasted last? Which was Thursday, by the way.
I'll tell you, that battle back there for 14th, that close moment for Mons and Bobby Wetzel. Mons down on the bottom line trying to get all he can to come up out of turn number 2. The car pushed up two made contact, brushed the wall on the outside, was the number 9, but both of them gathered it up, and they're still tussling position over there in turn number 3.
Yeah, battling pretty hard there, and you see Charles Van Schaik behind him with Scott Simley, also a part of that battle. Right now, as these guys fight it out for position here early in this race. Doy Woods also a part of the battle. Doy coming off a top 3 last week in his race. Chad Coleman there behind him. Of course, Coleman.
Surprised to see Chad back there. That is a pretty deep starting spot to dig yourself out of the second half of the top 20. And I would expect it a little more out of the veteran. He did talk about, Chris, some of his qualifying woes this year, as we got one around.
Seth Foudy, they were 3 wide off of turn 2, and Seth Foudy gets the worst of this. And
wow, this is going to be rather interesting with 4 sets of tires. Do you bolt one on right here?
Oof, yeah, it's a tough call here because you're right at the 130 mark now. So I think this is a very interesting call here to make. I think you will see all the drivers on pit road here. But let's see, 130, we're coming to lap 20, 150 lap race. Hey, what's 65 times 60 or plus 65?
That was, I'm just watching that incident over there. Holy cow.
Yeah, they were 3 wide off of turn 2. Let's go look at the replay.
And the 8 was involved, who wants to have a clean race because he's one of those you know individuals trying to waste his way into the championship stack. He was down on the bottom, and all 3 of them came together and squeezed.
Yeah. In fairness, Seth was in no man's land there. That middle groove is like almost like a no man's land per se. And Randy, unfortunately, coming up the track there, and they squeeze together, and Seth gets the worst of it. But let's go look at pit road here, because you're going to see about 10 cars, maybe a little bit more towards the back. But Mike Kelly, the first of those to pit road here. So I'm surprised those who didn't go, full bore, if we will, there at the start of this race, aren't the ones coming to pit road here. But it's actually Mike Kelly and these guys. Mike Kelly, Patrick Colby, Jose Gonzalez. Of course, Kelly was one of those that went full out there towards the front of the field. But that's going to leave Anthony Calantoni in the 84 as our leader here of this race. And while we're under caution, let's go ahead and get a break in. We'll come back, get you more racing here from Kansas Motor Speedway, or Kansas Speedway, I should say, as you're watching the Captain eSports Network.
This tree is going to look great here.
Did you call 811 to protect your underground utilities?
I can't wait to see these roses come up.
Dig, dig, dig! Wait, we forgot to call 811.
Before you dig, make sure you can. Call 811 to know what's below. It's up to all of us to protect the ones we love.
Back we are at Kansas Speedway as we are 20 laps in. Caution 1 out as Seth Foudy went for a wee down the back straightaway after contact with Schrader and Randy Oakham. We had cars come to pit road, and Kevin, you caught there during the break that Mr. Kelly took fuel only on his stop.
Yeah, 19 cars took advantage of going behind pit wall to get some service. I do believe that a lot of them just opted for fuel. I'm surprised a couple of the top runners took fuel only and gave up all that track position, but in the context of a long run, perhaps that's going to be the winning play. We're not sure. Yeah, if you're out in the back, it's a no-brainer, but some of these drivers, they're deep in the field now. Mike Kelly going to restart top of the stack of all the cars that pitted back there in 18.
As we'll get ready to come to the green, as 21 laps in the books, Anthony Calantoni on the top side going to be the leader with Justin Fuller and his inside, Kevin King, Robert Friery, and the 60 Jason Karlovage. Your top 5 as we come back to the green flag. With 130 laps to go, we are right on the number right now. As Fuller spins the tires, good restart for Calantoni as they are off to turn 1.
Yeah, I suspect these top group will single file out as the top 3 get nose to tail, with the 77 being the first car high on the outside. Big run for the number 81 of Josh Parker out of turn 2. He's going to come up to the high line. It seems like these drivers at the moment, especially on worn tires, are favoring the high side, trying to conserve tire wear, especially in that right front as you steer the car down into the corner.
As Calantoni leads, a battle on for second, battle on for third, battle on for sixth, almost 3 wide back here. As Jorgensen and Coleman, you just mentioned, who, by the way, is a little under the weather, too. And probably celebrating his Braves making the playoffs here. A whole lot of celebrating in Atlanta and New York right now. Unfortunately, just hearing word about the passing of Pete Rose earlier tonight, too. So it's like you celebrate the baseball side, and then you got that. Like a whole bunch, yeah, right? A whole bunch of bad going on, unfortunately, in the world. Anyways, as Brian Werman to pit road. Unscheduled.
He had some sort of penalty or such, because the 77 currently running in 4th, with the 8 running in 13th. This is going to take quite a bit of wind out of the sails of the 74, the 3rd car trying to opt into the championship run.
Yeah, not a good situation there for Werman. Hope everything's okay, too, because he has had some health issues as of late. King starting to fall back. He has lost 3rd to Wesley Donaldson, lost 4th now to Robert Fryery, as Werman does leave pit road. He and Mark Fish were on pit road just now, so I wonder if they might have had some kind of passing under yellow or something, maybe, which is sometimes a very confusing flag. As you're seeing already, these guys on the
stop and go or something, right?
These guys got a cycle on their tires, ran about 20 laps, and now you're starting to see the choo-choo train to the top of the track. And we'll have to keep an eye. A lot of these guys went fuel only on their stops, potentially. Scott Stenzel, Kevin Brown, Jose Medina, maybe with tires, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. As back here, they're spreading out. That is Colby. That is Gonzalez.
Pretty impressed with this run for Anthony Calantoni. Started up front, asserted speed from the beginning. One of the things to keep in mind out front is he is burning the most fuel of everybody else, but a lot of drivers covet that front position because, one, they got fresh air on the car. They could pick and choose the lane that they want, but I don't know. He's now under attack by the 51 of Justin Fuller. Looks like Fuller wants to go to the front.
Fuller looking pretty good in that 51, being very patient. Got the Jersey gentleman there and Calantoni, and you got the upstate New York guy and Justin Fuller. We'll let them debate if Buffalo's a part of New York.
Good news for Wertman. He is 1 lap down. He is in the lucky dog position. Should a caution come back, that'll cycle him back in. So as bad as that pit stop was, if he can somehow get a caution to shine upon him, he's right back in the mix in the number 74.
I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to work out now for these drivers. Oh, Wesley Donaldson maybe having some connection issues, I've noticed. As, yeah, he is completely gone. And I thought I saw some others falling through here, but it looks like just Wesley Donaldson, unfortunately, having some connection issues. Tough break there for the 91, as he's nowhere near the North Carolina area. You could obviously argue if something was going on where, like, down near that area, somebody was trying to race, but he's up in the Illinois area, so tough break for the 91.
Good to see the personal comfort Camaro piloted by Scott Stenzel back in the field here. It's been a while since we've seen him strap on a helmet and come out here in the Sim500 Cup Series, and he's currently running in the 21st position, trying to look to make his way into the top 20. He's down underneath Doy Woods out of turn number 2, and he's going to get there. Now he's going to hunt the 24, trying to see if he can pick up another position as they head around to the front straightaway.
Should mention, this might be a good time to bring this up, but the newest t-shirt on the Captain eSports Network page that you can purchase has to do sort of with blinking. We have another one coming, as a matter of fact, is, well, you can check out the Alt F4 for Blinkers shirt. Basically, it's a design of a bottle, basically, of blinker fluid, and it talks about Alt F4 and stuff like that. So you can go check that out right now on the Captain Esports Network T-shirt, or in the shop. Because as I like to say, or we like to joke and say, Alt F4 is the fixer of all blinkers. Just putting it out there.
Blinker fluid.
The blinker fluid, though, you can purchase. It's on the shirt. It actually is called Alt F4 Blinker Fluid. Go check it out in the shop right now. So I'm trying to have fun with it.
Yeah, Jason Karlovaj sitting there in the 5th position, quietly having a solid evening, just kind of riding back here. And what we have not seen in this race so far is somebody jump out to a large advantage. In the earlier races and previous races here at Kansas, somebody kind of turns up the wicks and drives away. Tonight, top 4, top 5, still within contact of each other. Is interesting to see the line choices. Sometimes drivers are up high, other drivers are carving the bottom. Some are up high and turned down low. We know that Kevin King loves the bottom. In the race here in the spring, he was using that to his advantage. And everybody was kind of wondering, how is he doing it and not doing the tire wear? And you see it again here tonight. Sitting there in 4th position, he's down there duck hunting.
Down there, what do they call it? Catfishing. As we watch Kevin Brown going to go to the lead. And you made that comment about somebody pulling away. This might be your guy right here. Is Kevin Brown pitted at lap 19. So he's got the fresh tires on his car right now and goes to the front at lap number 33 as he's roared his way up back through the field. Back up through the field. Here's my backwards for you. As he passes Calantoni Fuller back to 3rd. And, of course, you mentioned Kevin King there in the 4th position. Miss Weeks actually helping me out here in chat. She has stated that several gaming servers are having issues tonight from Call of Duty and whatever PSN is. Sorry, I'm not good with acronyms. Several others have gone down tonight too. So unfortunately, these servers are having their issues tonight. Unfortunately, something we're doing new tonight, by the way, too. Something I guess it's kind of not new in a way, but it is new. Is of course throughout this season we've been streaming on all the Captain Esports Network, YouTube, the Facebook, and over on the Sim500 Facebook. Well, tonight we're actually using OBS to stream out to all of the networks instead of through the Restream app I had been using. No, PlayStation Network. How did I not know that? I have a PlayStation. Yeah, so obviously appreciate those. I'm trying to keep track of both sides of it as Yoakum and Rivera about hit each other down the back straightaway there, but keeping track of both pages here. So if you say something in chat and I don't answer right away to you, maybe in that particular chat, that's why. So just FYI. But thanks for everybody for watching. Share it with your friends and family members, and let everybody come enjoy what they do love, and that is racing in general, or if it's sim racing or whatever. As you watch King go for 2nd here on the inside of Calantoni.
Yeah, it's almost like the shark music coming here as the Racing Pride number 93. He did not have a good run. Deep 30s for a finish in Kansas. We did not get to see the prowess of Kevin DeBrown at this racetrack. And tonight so far it's been clean and green for Kevin, and here he is leading the way. I'll tell you what, he looks pretty good, but I see the speed that the 29 has, and just inch by inch he's crawling his way forward, and he's now sitting in 2nd, and he's bumper.
Clear. Oh, and
Almost
now
clear.
Kevin's blinking. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Kevin Brown blinking out. And has completely disappeared.
Wow.
Talking about a way to go out. Gets passed by Kevin King, and you're gone. I was just about to...
comes back.
I was just about to ask you, Kevin, if you thought Kevin DeBrown might be kind of holding back a little bit there now that he was at the front of the field, maybe saving tire a little bit. But
You mean Kevin King?
no, Kevin DeBrown, because he took the lead, and then all of a sudden he wasn't so
when
fast
you're
anymore.
out front, you trying to just do whatever you can. It's the dash thing, right?
Right.
Faster. No, slower. No, faster. You run as fast as you need to run in order to stay in front of everybody, but not abuse your stuff. You're always afraid of the possibility that you run your stuff down and then you make yourself a victim of being overrun because you went out of the gate too quickly. Now,
Right.
You talked about Fuller. He just moved up in a. Well, he didn't quite get there yet. He's going to come to second, and I think what Justin Fuller's got on the brain is do not let King get away.
As Stenzel's going to clear for second, and King's going to, yeah, you mentioned him. He's starting to drive away here, finding out from Mr. Wesley Donaldson that he unfortunately has lost power for a second season in a row at the Kansas race, which, you know, should, I guess, be a good reminder. And Wesley, I will gladly be your reminder if needed. Pay your power bill. I'm kidding. Sorry to see that, though, in all seriousness. That's a tough situation because I can think of how many times Wesley's been either up there at the front or finishing last in a race because something happens. See, Justin
just run by Stenzel. He just
yeah
turned the afterburners on. At some point, we were talking about where he was sitting, and this is where we talked about if they fade a little bit, don't count them out because all of a sudden, car comes to life. It's almost like they flip the nitrous switch, and here they come. They somehow find that little extra, especially on that high line, and Stenzel is closing the gap.
Yeah, Stenzel's got the fresher tires here, and that's where I think he's catching Kevin now potentially here for the lead. He about wiped it a minute ago, and I'm talking about the car, as you might have seen him drop down a little fuller, and I saw the back end down that bottom lane get loose, and I'm like, uh-oh. And do I want to pay her power bill? My wife might frown upon that, Wes, to be honest with you. How much is it? No. Anyways, yeah, awkward power bill
He's
talk.
not seen the 93 come back, so unfortunately for him, he's now 2 laps down, going deeper in a hole.
So that's 2 now, unfortunately. The 91 and 93. Are there any other 90s in the field tonight? Gerald Livingston. No, I'm kidding, obviously, on that part, too. But just
Gerald's still soldiering there in 26.
I'm seeing a trend here. I'm seeing a trend here. Oh, Fuller just got the wall off, too. As Medina, Calantoni, Karlovaj. About 4 or 5 cars going to go by as Fuller popped it pretty good.
Yeah, not sure if he's in trouble here as we're starting to see the 88 come forward. That's a driver, I think. Remember the lesson he learned from the race in May, and as
Eric Arnold.
the season progressed, I think he.
I mentioned Eric Arnold's name. He was cutting the grass there for a minute in the front straightaway, but looks like he's okay in 19th position. Carry on.
Yeah, just saying that maybe the 88 is one of those cars that saved a little something here. It's not unusual for us to get a 90-lap run or something like that at this racetrack.
Yeah, not at all.
At least when you're behind the wheel, it feels like 100 laps.
Oh, it does. And it can get tiring very quickly because mentally you're sitting there telling yourself, because you got to get up there against the boards to run your fast laps on these older tires, unless your name's Kevin King. But you're racing this track like Darlington, but you're going a lot faster than you do at Darlington. As for the lead, King and Stenzel are side by side.
Yeah, to the high side with the run comes the 42 Personal Comfort Camaro. He's going to have the nose ahead here out of turn number 4 and lead him back to the stripe. Scott Stenzel still looking out his left window, sees the pesty number 29. Will Kevin King be able to assert speed down here in turn 1 and 2? As Stenzel really has the wick turned up. He's going to run off of turn 4. They're almost going to come together.
I was wondering if that was going to happen because Scott was starting to come off the corner like a diamond and King was starting to come up the track. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, just about got to the door. Probably could have plunked him on the nose if he wanted to, but Stenzel carrying the speed to the high side has now fully cleared him, but I don't believe King is done. He's going to nose back underneath him over here in turn number 1. Will he be able to draw alongside?
One thing I'm seeing here, Kev, you notice how King is about a half groove up. He's going to clear him here, but then finally goes to the bottom through the middle 1 and 2. But Stenzel finally clears 19-lap fresher tires up to the lead. And unfortunately, King's not done with the battling because Jose Medina is coming up behind these two. He's about 1.5 back, and he's also on 4 fresh tires from that pit stop. So very interesting strategy coming into play here as we hit the 1/3 mark of this race, because now you got to start to ponder for these guys. You're about 15 laps away from pit stops from all these guys who did not pit, and then you got the guys who did pit that are going to be able to go 20 laps longer to roughly lap 85.
Yeah, I want to go back and see if he took tires. I'm curious to know that answer, and if that's what we're seeing show up here on this long run. And we talked about if you did the strategy a little bit differently than everybody else, could you potentially parlay that in the time frame when the race runs green?
Yeah, well, I'm just going off of timing and scoring on my end. I've got him at a 14.9 second pit stop. Unless he had damage on his car, that would tell me 4 tires and a Medina 18 flat pretty much. So, I mean, as mentioned, if you got damage on your car, then that kind of changes everything here. But if you're going to roar through the field like these two have done, I'm pretty sure these guys are on 4 tires. As Josh Parker on pit road
actually confirmed it. He took 4 tires.
As
and
Parker
has 19 lap old tires as Schrader hits the wall out of turn 2, but keeps going in the Red Bull Toyota.
Parker on pit road here at lap 51, so this guy definitely just going to do the old split the race in thirds. Mark here, 4 tires and fuel for the driver of the 81. As you see the leaders come across the line here.
I'm looking at that 13 of David Comstock, winner in May. He's come up to the top 10, knocking on the back bumper of Justin Fuller, and he's got a gaggle of cars right in front of him that he could pick up a couple positions and make his way into the top 5 quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, definitely Comstock, one that can slowly work his way up here through the field. That's when he has a good run. I mean, sometimes, unfortunately, he will have some struggles, and when his situation normally is a struggle, it's like one thing adds up after another, and he's done for. But if he can keep his wits about him, he can have a good run here and maybe go and sweep the Kansas races here. As he works his way up there to the 8th position, working under Jorgensen right now. And then right in front of them, you see Karlovaj and Calantoni battle. And how about that?
Actually, the one we want to make sure we don't miss is Kevin King has come back into the lead here. He slipped around the 42 and is driving away. So even with the worn tires, Kevin's found the speed down there on the bottom. And I just don't see anybody else consistently running down there.
Nah, he's about the only one that's able to run at speed. As you see the pass right there, just drops it down and makes the pass as Stenzel falls back. As Calantoni with some issues. Did he get the outside wall? Saw him starting to fall back on timing and scoring all the way back to the 10th position now. So these guys really now starting to either kind of tag the wall a little bit or have handling issues as these laps do roar on. But hey, did you see the guy in 7th there, Kev?
Nope. Who's that?
That'd be Nelson Rivera in the LaRue number 22 car. LaRue, the sponsor of a new GT3 series that kicks off this coming Thursday night. If you would like details on that, and oh, by the way, a series that the captain will be broadcasting on Sundays in the very near future that involves short tracks on Sundays. You might want to go check out Sim500.com for all the details, because there's some fun off-season stuff that's going to be happening, and you can be a part of it. Just go to Sim500.com. As mentioned, Chad Coleman on pit road.
Yeah, let's see. I would assume this is going to be for 4 tires and fuel, and he might turn the wick up on everybody else going to pit road. And I'll tell you, the driver who needs 4 feel goods is Anthony Calantoni. Sometimes your car just automatically, for some reason,
switch.
decides it's going to get evil.
Yeah.
And Calantoni is against the wall over in turn number 2 over there, and he is bleeding. He's going to need to go to pit road and get that Talking Giants number 84 for fresh Goodyears. Is the 38 done and away with his service?
Yeah, Chad, a 14.9 for him as he pulls away. I was talking to him a little bit ago. He had his Jimmy Durante voice going tonight, unfortunately. And from yelling at the racetrack this weekend, where he was doing his usual stuff to, coughing up a lung, to just not feeling good, as Fuller had to get out of it and kiss the wall a little bit there as Kelly almost ran him over through 3 and 4. So yeah, we're definitely seeing now where this car is acting all types of ill handling as Patrick Colby comes to pit road now. Looks like Mons might have kissed the wall, so I mean, a lot of these guys playing with fire right now, not coming to pit road, but staying out here, and this right front tire, unfortunately, is taking a beating.
Yeah, this track rewards consistency and care of the tires, and Kevin King is the king of that right now out front with a good, healthy lead over Scott Stenzel running first. Jose Medina Scott Stenzel running second, Medina running third, and then it's a pretty big gap back to the number 60 of Jason Karlovaj, probably 3/4 of a straightaway backstretch to the number 60 running fourth. Justin Mons, David Comstock, Nelson Rivera, and Robert Friery, who is cementing his position in the points here, running in the top 10, as we're going to get to pit stops, and we see the 51 down and away.
Yep, Fuller pulls away. Calantoni is in, as he will come down the pit road for 4 tires and fuel. As King already out to 2.8 seconds now. Jose Medina has actually moved to second past Stenzel, as this is lap number 60 for the 84 car, and it'll be 4 tires and fuel for him. These guys obviously going to have to play this patiently, because it can be very easy to go out there and just burn your tires off. Trying to make passes here on the cars with older tires, just go out there, be patient, let them give you the room you need to go by, and try to preserve as much as you can, so these cars on tires later in the run don't just blow your doors off later on.
Yeah, and I don't honestly know the actual answer to racecraft as to, do you need to take it easy the first couple laps and conserve the tires until they warm up, or do you run them hard right from the get-go and take advantage of them? And I think that answer is to the driver's discretion, and I think it works.
Well, let me put it to you like this, Kevin, and this is kind of my mindset on that, because I think this is easy to do. If you're in the car and you're driving and you're in a pretty good battle for position, your mindset is, I'm coming for tires and I'm getting what I can get, and trying to have the better car for the long run, as Kevin King is on pit road. So by doing that, you would expect that it's almost impossible to all of a sudden tell your mind, all right, save tires, save tires, save tires. Because you're wanting to go make sure that you stay ahead of the car you're battling for position, or get ahead of.
Yeah, this battle back there for 5th, 6th, 7th is absolutely crazy. These guys are on top of each other trying to get all that they can in that position. I saw Robert Friery kind of bounce out of that, as these 4 cars contesting this position, running nose to tail.
As Comstock comes to pit road, you saw King come to pit road, Jason Karlovaj, Randy Yoakum is in. There's been great battles all throughout the evening time, and that's, you know, and Kev, you bring up a great point. I know we just kind of discussed it for a split second there, but like, it is so easy when you're in a car to get caught up with, I have fresher tires than half the field, I need to go past as many cars as I can so I can get to track position, get back on the lead lap as quick as I can. It's much like a road course when you go to a corner that you think you can go diving in there as deep as you can, and all of a sudden you're off in the barrels.
Yeah, and you know the balance is going to get you on the other end. Is I'm watching the strategy play out here with the drivers who are a lap down. For example, 24th position. Back there is Chad Coleman, now 22nd. He's in the lead lap right now. So some of these drivers that have come to pit road are kind of okay. It's Bobby Wetzel, Brian Wertman, Mark Schrader that are laps down, with Wetzel holding right now the lucky dog position. And we're just going to have to see how this plays through. How about Jose Medina and Nelson Rivera? Good run for them.
Yeah, 5.4 seconds right now celebrating. Wow. Separating Medina from Rivera. Of course, Medina, as I mentioned, took the 4 tires, as he has had some terrible luck here throughout this season. Good to see Medina up at the front right now. Robert Friery in the 3rd position. And then you get the first... Nope, I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. I was about to say Kelly's the first one to pit early, because I'm used to that habit. He is still not pitted after the caution. He pitted at lap 19. Mike Montesi is not pitted yet. And then you get a whole slew of guys from Simley, Gonzalez, Foudy, Sigmund, and Van Schaik that pitted at lap 19. Kevin King right now is the first car to come off pit road after this cycle of pit stops, as he actually has passed Josh Parker and is about 3.1 seconds ahead after those pit stops. So Medina on pit road, Rivera and Friary on pit road.
Yeah, misspoke about the scoring monitoring as it was out of sync here, as right now there's a handful of drivers still waiting to come around as Medina went to pit road. It's going to put Mike Kelly on top of the stack with Simley, Seth Foudy, Jose Gonzalez, and Doug Sigmund scored your top 5. Some of those still needing to pit. As it looks the way we run, unless a caution comes out, it'll be Kevin King back on top when everything circles around.
Appreciate everybody hanging out with us this evening on the Captain Esports Network. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button if you're new to watching us here on the YouTube channel. Always appreciative of everybody who comes and hangs out with us. If you're new to the stream, or if you're one that's returning to watch as per usual, our first of 4 straight streams this week here on the Captain Esports Network, as you watch everybody with the fresh tires just go blowing behind Mike Kelly right now, who officially leads this race over Scott Simley by 4.1 seconds, as we're 6 laps from halfway.
As we look at the dynamic, the top 5 cars, 6 cars make that. Pit lap 19, lap 62 is the lap for Kevin King, and then behind him is Josh Parker, who pitted on lap 50. Then a spade of cars in the mid-50s had pitted, and then behind them, all the drivers that pitted just around the time frame of Kevin King. That's too much math to track, but basically what it nets out to is when Kevin King comes back, he's going to have some of the freshest tires, and he's going to have a healthy lead. So similar music that we played all season long. If this thing stays green, Kevin King's going to be in charge of the race one more time.
The very interesting part I find here, Kev, is the time on pit road. I'm going to read you off some numbers here, and this is the delta time of the cars on pit road. King 44.75, Parker 44.82, Fuller 44 flat, 44.78 for Coleman, 44.73 for Calantoni, 44.78 for Mons. That is everybody from the entrance of pit road to the exit of pit road plus their pit stop. How tight that is.
Yeah, and it's not a terrible pit road to get to. You could slow down. The cars behind you have plenty of way to get around. You don't have to chase the car coming off the apron over in turn 2. It's a pretty decent blend. Who do we see? The 23 coming to pit road one more time, and so is the 04.
Doug Sigmund, yeah. Sigmund
getting his service.
Overheard his conversation a little bit ago off on Discord before the race. And Mike Kelly just missed pit road.
Missed pit road. He was sideways going in. That's what I was wowing about.
What were you just saying about pit road?
Yeah. Well, when you're trying to get all the good you can, speed is not your friend, even though it's on the side of the car.
So Mike's going to watch the stream later on in the race, because he always does. So I'm going to tease him here because he was picking on me before the race. But he's like, man, I noticed you haven't talked to me during the green flag lately. And I was like, and I just in my head, like, I wonder if I should go down and talk to him right now.
Yeah.
Might be cussing up a storm. That wouldn't be good. Hey, battle for the lead here. Seth Foudy and Scott Simley. Of course, Foudy, the victim of the one caution, goes to the front and going to take the lead in this race. So nice job on Seth's part. But going back to the segment story, Doug was kind of saying out loud, he's kind of close to the whole situation there in North Carolina and stuff. So obviously hope for the best there on his end. Good to see him out here tonight racing. I know, what else have I seen? I've seen the Faster Pastor, Stoney Benfield. I know he's in North Carolina. He's been mentioning some stuff about the that western area and stuff. I know I've already seen posts about the Concord Walmart. I think there's a few there, but one of the Walmarts there completely out of stuff because NASCAR teams and drivers are going in there buying stuff and getting it out to the western part of the state to help the people out there. So it's, again, like Doug Sigmund and the other guys there, just hope everybody's hoping for the best for everybody in that situation right now and thinking about those involved. But Hey, halfway this time by. Foudy, Simley, and then Kevin King, who just passed Simley. Let's see, Fuller 4, Chad Coleman, your top 5.
I think about the storm situation and the frequency in which we've seen storms this spring, summer, and now into fall as Kevin King moves down low, and he's going to assume control of this race over on the backstretch. And the call before you dig situation, it lends even more credence as this, I hate to say, familiar situation we find ourselves in with these events that just keep coming. Almost, it seems, one a month. And don't make a bad situation worse by not knowing what you're doing when you're trying to solve whatever problem. And call before you dig, and just make sure that you don't make a bad situation worse. That's the worst thing that could possibly happen.
Agree 100% there. Well said. Another situation I just thought about too. Obviously, one, there's potentially other storms coming, not just to that area, but like to other areas of the United States. But two, you got to remember a lot of the cables that are being put in now, like fiber optic and stuff like that, are going in the ground. It's not in the air anymore. It's all in the ground. And obviously when it rains like it has, water goes into the ground. What's the water eventually going to do? Pick up everything out of the ground and come back to the top. So you got to be very careful of what the situations are, especially in those areas and anywhere that you might be digging and stuff. Hey, let's go up here to a battle for the 6th position as Anthony Calantoni and Josh Parker battling out. These guys both pitted, well, actually, Calantoni pitted after Parker.
He's got 9-lap pressure tires at this point, but the 81 not giving up the fight here as he runs the high line. Calantoni painting the white line out of turn number 2. The car tends to drift a little bit. You're going to use all the racetrack on exit. He's being very conservative, leaving a half a car length. They're door to door down into turn number 3. With Calantoni taking advantage of the grip of fresher tires. He's going to nose ahead here. We'll see if he clears him out
slider.
of turn 4. He's gonna. It looked tight by that camera angle, but he had about a quarter of a car length, and that's plenty of space.
Clear, take it.
Well, you had that moment of like, did I get it right? Did I get it right? Yeah, okay, I'm all right. Let's move on. I'm going to chase that 38 in front of me. And speaking of that, we were talking about how deep in the field Chad Coleman run on the outset of this race, and he's made his way into a top 5 position. And you talk about laps. People who have laps run good at this racetrack, and Chad Coleman has parlayed that at this juncture into a top 5 run, and he's heading for more. Scott Simley out in front of him.
Oh, you led me into a stat that we're going to hit you with after they go 3 wide here in turn 2, and we're going to step away, get you another break real quick, and come back, and we'll share another stat that Chad has over everybody, because he is the Iron Man of the series for, well, obvious reasons. But we'll come back, get you more racing here from Kansas Speedway on the Captain eSports Network.
When do you plan on putting in that new fence we've been talking about since last summer?
I guess I could start tomorrow.
Protect the ones you love and protect your buried utilities by contacting 811 before you dig, either by phone, the web, or the NC 811 app. Know what's below before you dig. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
All right, back we are here at the Kansas Speedway as Kevin King is driven away after green flag pit stops. He's got a 9, almost 10-second lead over Justin Fuller, who just took the 2nd position away from Seth Foudy. And I was doing the math and had to go into our good buddy Clayton Sneed's Sim Racer Hub website that, of course, we use for point standings and stats and so much. And I went and broke down and added in every 1.5 and 2-mile track that is run in Sim500. I've put all the races together in the Cup Series and, well, did all the number munching, if you will. And Justin Fuller is the active leader right now in number of laps led on these style of tracks, the 1.5 and 2-mile, and that is in the Cup Series. He has led over a total of, had the number, and it slipped, where's it? 1,043. There's the number. I was looking for the column. 1,043 laps. Justin Fuller is led officially on 1.5 tracks. The next best would be Pedro Mohican, and Kevin King is there also, but there is a big difference amongst those two guys. But when you look at the driver rating here on this track, a pretty good stat here for Chad Coleman, as we mentioned. He's made 98 starts. This is start number 99 tonight. An average rating of 90 on these 1.5 tracks, along with 3 wins in the Cup Series here on the 1.5 tracks, including Atlanta Motor Speedway just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, at this point, everybody's kind of settled in. It's conveyor belt racing. Drivers running in little pockets, and I'm interested to watch our leader, the behavior he has. Right now, he's running down the back straightaway, got a commanding lead, and he's sitting behind the number 4 Trans-Service Camaro. Trans-Service Trucking and Logistics, number 4 of Mike Montesi. And he's not moved around him. He's tucked up to the front or to the rear bumper a couple times. And just currently riding in the draft and cruising. And I'm not sure if he's using this as some way to save tires, save fuel, just comfortable with where he's at, doesn't want to make the charge. But we have to update at this juncture, Chris, the 3 drivers trying to race their way into the championship. The 77 of Robert Fiery III and the 8 of Randy Yoakum currently running 14th and 15th, right there together. Unfortunately for Brian Workman, that pit stop he had yields him 2 laps down in 30th, and he's a driver like a couple of these other guys who would love to take advantage of fresh tires in a pit stop to get himself back in contention. As we have the 12 and the 81 on pit road right now.
Yeah, Simley on pit road and Josh Parker on pit road for what I believe is going to be scheduled pit stops here at lap 88. Just trying to use the numbers in my head here. This would put 61 laps. So yeah, they're in the number here.
Yeah, Parker last pitted on lap number 53, and I would consider this almost like a short pit. Maybe he's going to try and take advantage of fresh tires and run this down and see if he can gain some advantage in his Fritos Kroger Camaro. As I see him sitting there, I wonder if he's trying to fix some damage. Maybe he had an incident that we didn't catch off camera.
We can take a look here. I didn't see anything on the old highlights here. But, yeah, Parker must have had some kind of issue here. As, you know what, let's go back here with Doy Woods potentially. Let's see. Well, Parker's off the pace here on the front straightaway. Let's go back a little bit further now. Let's take a look here. As he almost gets the outside wall there. As he's off the pace at that moment. So let's go back a little bit further.
Yeah, I didn't see anything that in looking at the archives that would lead me to believe that he had damage, but certainly he's sitting down there.
Found it. Right there in turn 2. He got himself straddled amongst that top groove and got himself up on the outside wall, and I think that might have hurt his car a little bit there. So that would be your answer. What happened to Josh Parker? He pretty much fell off the pace from there. And I think he was wanting to come to pit road there on that same lap, but unfortunately was too far ahead of pit road or too far along to just hang a left there. So he went back around the track and looked off the pace. So, but battle for third as here comes the Mons machine. The 41, Justin Mons inside of Callan Tony. As Justin has just been chugging along. But going back
from the beginning to the middle of the season, Justin Mons has showed incredible gain in performance in that Ancient World Gaming number 41. He's been fast just about everywhere he goes. That is a tight moment. Callan Tony probably winced a little bit as they went in the corner. I'm sure that you're so aware, Chris, as you know, where the other car is, and you're just wondering if you're going to get cleaned out as you go through the corner. The good news is Mons was able to get on the binders and stop before getting into the side of the 84, and he'll live to fight again.
Yeah, great battle amongst those guys. Karlovaj and Comstock and Medina all also a part of this battle for the 4th position as Joey Jatina comes to pit road. And for those just checking really quickly, Robert Fryery was up by 3 over Doy Woods going into this race. Now, again, there is a drop race involved into the points, so depending on where they finish is going to kind of play a role in which race does get dropped. Basically what that means is a race, there's 4 races that did not count. Your worst 4 finishes is Mo. Hey, Calantoni's probably not going to be happy about that. Mons made sure he was clear that time around. We got to watch this battle.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, Calantoni running right
Just
out.
get around. That's what I think he's thinking.
You ever had that guy that you pied in the face or something and he goes chasing after you? This is what this looks like right now.
I'm looking at that 13 back there lurking. The Sheets Monster Camaro is coming here as Calantoni gets into the wall on exit of turn 2 and bumps it.
So going back to the convo real quick, there was a 3-point advantage. You take away the 4 worst finishes for those 2 drivers. If they obviously finish in front of those 4 positions, then it does come straight down to points. And if it was that right now, then Fryer would actually gain a point on Doy. But you got to remember, too, Doy was involved in the incident, or not Doy, but Yoakum was in the incident at the first caution. So if there's any bonus points there, that'll play a role.
Well, now it's these individual little scraps all around the racetrack. You see different groups and clusters of cars, and they're also running in and amongst some of the cars that are off the pace or on different strategies. And, you know, the 74, the 48, the 11, and a couple of the other cars, the 14, 12, 45 are lap cars, but they're running smack in the mix of some of these battles that we're watching here. Is that battle for...
This battle's
Third,
getting
fourth, and
bigger.
fifth just won't go away.
I want to move on to like other battles, but this has just been a fight right here. I mean, it's getting bigger too, because I mean, you got Medina, you got Jorgensen who's starting to get closer, and behind him, he's got 3 or 4 cars chasing him down. So, as looks like Calantoni's going to lose a spot now to Karlovaj, and now here comes Wetzel and others to join his battle. So Mons is going to get away. Well, for a second, because here comes now Comstock into the battle for 4th. Make that for 3rd now. For those wondering, Kevin King has a 13-second lead on Fuller.
Yeah, Calantoni, his car, the handling again on this run is starting to go away. The deeper we get into it, the car on the charge is running in 7th. Jose Medina is coming. He's there looking on the back bumper of Calantoni, who's slipping a little bit, and out in front of them things have settled down a little bit, but Comstock is the driver again on the charge. He's currently in 4th, and he's looking for 3rd from Justin Mons.
Yeah, he's starting to kind of fade a little bit there off of turn 2. Mons got a real good run off the corner. Just checking out some other battles here on the screen. There's Robert Fryery going to go to the inside of Chad Coleman. Fryery, 12-lap fresher tires, going to pass the Georgia driver for the 11th position. He'll have his eyes on Scott Stenzel here for the 10th spot. Stenzel is kind of falling back here in this run. So yeah, to go back to what you said a little bit ago, pretty much anybody who's pitted earlier than lap 55 during the run here, those guys have free fallen. Unfortunately, you look at Doy Woods, Chad Coleman, you mentioned Parker, who had already fallen back and is pitted a second time now. Those guys have fallen back. It's the guys that have pitted at 62, 58, 61, 63. Pretty much anything later than lap 59, and you're in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, the car I thought we'd see a little more out of here tonight, but he's not been able to make his way up into the top 5. It's the Mountain Dew Zero Camaro of Mark Jorgensen Jr. He started outside pole. He's not having a terrible run. He's inside the top 10, currently sitting in 9th and showing a little bit of speed, but unfortunately for the 88 distance track position at this point, he's got a long way to go to run himself back up to some of those top runners, but he is showing a little speed as the run goes on.
Yeah, Medina was just battling up in front there with Nelson Rivera, and he's going to lose a lot of momentum as there goes Jorgensen by. And to follow up on the Jorgensen part, he actually has finished last the last 2 weeks. You go back to Watkins Glen, pardon me for a second. About sneezed. Yorkson finished last at Watkins Glen after getting involved in an incident, and then Bristol was the first caution of the night involved. In the first caution, finished dead last. So for him to be running 8th right now, I'm sure he's smiling.
Yeah, it's got to be heartbreaking right now for Brian Workman to see the season. He's worked so hard to try and be in contention to get to the championship. I know he was excited to get to it, and fate has not played out well for him. Currently running 29, 3 laps down as the leader, looking to move around Randy Yoakum and put him a lap down. And have it Mike Kelly, the first car 1 lap down in the 2, but on an alternative strategy. You have to wonder, somebody's going to try something different, and it's the 2 that is on a different path here tonight. Is it going to net out at the end to see if he can get to Kevin King?
And we surely are going to have to see, as here comes Kelly right now behind King to unlap himself, which will put him in a position here to at least be on the lead lap if a yellow does come out. Let's go back to this ever so long going battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, as now Comstock has lost 4th to Karlovage, but he's trying to get it back from him. As these guys about 0.4 of a second now back from Justin Mons. But this racing at Kansas has been good as usual.
4 tires and fuel for the 96 of Gerald Livingston. His service done, and he's out and away as he comes up the 31. Drops into his pit box as we're starting to see a little trickle of pit stops here around lap 104.
Which for most of these guys would be about 43 laps, so I would expect a lot of these guys to still go another 15, 20 laps, but this is probably your first set of guys that did not pit under that first caution, is Jorgensen and Coleman now coming to the pits.
And you have to wonder, as this played out, who has an extra set, and should we see a late green run, short run, would somebody have the advantage of having an extra set of tires if we have a rash of cautions towards the end of this thing?
Yeah, it's a great question to ask right now. And I think obviously the quick answer I have for you is those who did not pit under that caution. But obviously if you did pit under that caution, there are a lot of them that did not take tires at all either there. So I think a majority of these guys do have easily 2 sets of tires sitting in the pits to get there to the finish.
Yeah, currently it looks like we have about 19 cars or so. It changes every lap with these cars pitting on the lead lap as we're starting to see additional pit cycles. Eric Arnold, Josh Parker in the pit right now as Kevin King continues to stretch out that lead. What was an 11-second lead is now a 14-second lead. Justin Fuller 2 seconds over Justin Mons, with Karlovage right there in the tire tracks of the 3rd place car, the number 41 of Justin Mons.
Yeah, Doy Woods on pit road now along with Ron Holyfield. So those guys hit pit road here for the final time at lap 109. Karlovage going to dive it in. And so is Calantoni. Good entrance there for the 84. Very fast entrance by the 84 in there as he had to roll her up. You hope not. But was it a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, I believe, here? 45 or 50. Haven't run NIS here in a very long time, so as these two pull onto pit road. And again, thanks to all the viewers hanging out here tonight, and we appreciate everybody hanging out for the final race of the NC811.org regular season. The playoffs kick off next week at, of all places, Talladega Super Speedway. Let it kick off with a bang next week. Looking forward to that at 8:15 Eastern time as these cars leave pit road. And I want to send a shout out to Jim Herrick in Indianapolis there for 40 Racewear. Of course, he's trying to support the iRacers with gloves and shoes and other items for you to help out enhancing your racing and make yourself even more comfortable out there on your rig. Check out 40racewear.com for all the details on how you can check out the cool shoes and gloves that he has to offer. Rivera on pit road. Fuller's on pit road. Robert Friery, Scott Stenzel at lap 111.
Yeah, Polar took 4 tires and fuel. Now the 29 of Kevin King heads for service.
Yep, Kevin King, the leader, down on pit road for the final time here at lap 110. If I'm Mons and Comstock and Medina and Kelly, I'm staying out as long as I can go. Because, I mean,
I'm with you. And then if a caution comes out and you have fresh tires, you're going to have the advantage.
I think Medina just got the outside wall over there in turn 4. I couldn't tell, but the angle didn't look pretty. Just put it like that. But here's King in 4 tires and fuel.
2 tires. He's going to do a 2-tire outside only for the number 29.
All right. Does that fall under the category here, Cotton?
Yeah, that's a brave one, Cotton.
Those left sides must not be wearing much.
Sometimes the inside tires being a little bit worn just help give you that feel of making the car turn when you're charging it.
Interesting. So Medina now to pit road, going to bring Mike Kelly with him. And definitely saw the news over there on Kevin DeBrown a little bit ago. Tough stitch there for the hot spot. That's 2 unfortunate power issues tonight for drivers. As Comstock going to take the lead as here comes Mons to pit road. I'm surprised these guys are pitting now. I mean, this is where you do something different. You're not faster than the leader, or else he wouldn't be, 14, 15 seconds ahead. So do something different. So Comstock, Montesi, Kevin King already back up to the 3rd position with the cycle of pit stops happening. Yeah, that means his left side tires are going to have roughly 90 laps on them. As here comes Comstock to pit road.
Comstock was the 13th different leader. That's going to turn the lead over to Mike Montesi if they make it around here. Or did Kevin get around him before they got there? Yeah, Kevin got around him. So Kevin King goes back to the top of the stack.
Now at this position, if you're Montesi, go ahead and come to pit road because you've already been passed by Kevin. You're not going to be able to catch him at this point on older tires because now you're no longer the guy on offense. You're now trying to protect yourself, obviously, from falling further back. So I think in this case, if you're Mike and the other guys, you just go ahead and come to pit road and get your tires. But hey, this is why I've only won like 14 official races ever. So it's not many. 2 of them are Daytona 500s, one's an Indy 500. Don't need much strategy to win those races sometimes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where we are from a leader standpoint. Kevin King has led 93 of the laps so far out of 116, and he's back on the stack here. He's make that 94 as he goes around and completes another lap. But we've had 14 different leaders, and we have different pit strategies, and if we see a caution somewhere along the line in these final 50 laps, the race complexity certainly will change as drivers, 1, are fast on the short run, and 2, some of them have tires still in reserve for that possible late caution here as the 45 exits pit road.
As we watch Joey Jatina make the pass on Nelson Rivera here, Jatina up to the 12th position. He pitted at lap 92, Rivera at lap 110. So actually it might be the other way around, Rivera passing Jatina, as that just happened a second ago. Carl Lavage battling with Coleman up here now for the 5th spot. Of course, Seth Foundy there behind them. Mark Jorgensen about a second, 1.7 or so ahead. I honestly don't know because I'm sitting there playing second. I'm second guessing myself in my head right now because I'm like, okay, at first I said to go ahead and pit or go ahead and not pit if you ever want to do something different. But now that Kevin's already back in the lead, I'm like, all right, maybe you go ahead and do pit. But then there's that part of me again. It's like, no, maybe go ahead and just stay out here and at least trying to get track position or something. You know what? This is why the crew chiefs get paid, not me.
I'm curious if you'd have stayed out, whether you had had Kevin in a disadvantage. He would have been in the lead lap with you, but you would have had older tires. As long as he didn't get to you, you could have.
Oh, 3 wide up here.
To your point, right?
3 wide front straightaway here is Mons and Joy Woods go around Joey Jatina, bringing Stenzel with him. The only counter to that is the part that I thought about. King still has a set of tires in the pits.
Yeah.
So he can just go get those, you know. So I guess where it could become an advantage for him is Mons runs over Doug Sigmund, who goes up into Joy Woods.
Sigmund's sideways. He's going to gather it up. I thought for sure that was the caution. We were wondering whether it was going to come. The Pro Seal brakes 04 was completely sideways, and for what it's worth, he grabbed a handful of steering wheel and drove himself out of it. As good hands for the 04 of Doug Sigmund, keeping that car out of the fence over there in turn 3. He was broad sideways over there after contact with the other car.
I don't know of any good brake jokes to use there, but the brakes car got literally sent into turn 3. So it's King by 11. Again, Montesi's still yet to pit. He should be on pit road if he comes in anywhere between now and about 14 laps. So between now and 136, probably before you see the 4 on pit road. And the rest of these guys up all the way up to the Seth Foudy position, which is 10th. Pitted in lap 84, so he can get pretty close to that lap 150 mark. Problem is he's got old tires.
This is the strategy we were talking about. The 4 running second. Look at the track position he has. He's going down into turn number 3, and the 51, who's giving him chases in the middle of the backstretch, has a half a straightaway lead over him, and he's yet to pit and has fresh tires sitting on the box. So if Mike Montesi can find a caution somewhere along the line here, he's going to be in a good place with track position and fresh tires to bolt on.
Yeah, the only downfall to this whole situation is Mike's running 33.85s right now, where Fuller and everybody's in the 32, mid 32s, low 32s, somewhere in that range. And that's where they're gaining about a second to a second and a half right now on Mike. But yeah, no, I think it's a move that, you know what do you have to lose at this moment?
Yeah, he's got a 10-second cushion over the 10th place car. So as long as he can kind of maintain some sort of pace, if something happens in the next 10, 15 laps as the 23 to pit road, he's going to find himself with a top 10 run to the end, to the sprint finish here. So I like this strategy the 4 is done.
I don't disagree with it. Put it like that. I have no problem with it. So Priory making a pass on Coleman for the 6th position here. Anthony Calantoni about to go by, I should say, Coleman here potentially for the 7th position as others coming to pit road. And Calantoni not able to clear here. Coleman should get the run off turn 4 here with help of the draft.
Sim500 number 9 Camaro of Bobby Wetzel dropping into the pit box for service. It'll be 4 tires and fuel, I'm sure, for Bobby, as that might be the last pit stop for him. The Ohio driver did take 4 tires and fuel, and he'll be down and away.
As he pulls away, Calantoni and Coleman continue to battle tough here. I think Calantoni's obviously got the fresher wheels here by 3 laps, and he finally clears them for the 7th position. And we're going to step away for our last break real quick, come back for the finish of this race at Kansas Speedway. Only 1 caution so far tonight, as it's been a fun race to be a part of here. It is Sim500 on the Captain eSports Network.
What a nice day to install my new mailbox.
Hi there, friend. I'm Dig Safely Man. My job is to ensure you call 811 before you dig.
Why do I need to do that?
Vital utilities like natural gas and electric run just beneath the Earth's surface. Damaging them can cause service interruption, environmental hazards, or personal injury.
I thought only contractors had to call before they dig, so homeowners do too.
Call 3 business days before you dig unless you have X-ray vision. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
All right, back we are here at Kansas Speedway. 23 laps to go. It's the 29 show here at Kansas as Kevin King leads in his redemption tour tonight. He kind of made mention of it last week at Bristol coming into the race here tonight. The race in May, where he dominated like he is right now, had some late race cautions come out. and unfortunately got caught in a penalty on a restart that cost him the win. So you know King is in that spot where he just wants to put a whooping on the field, and he's not going to hold back until the checkered flag waves.
Yeah, half track lead at this point is unbelievable, as King has come to put an exclamation point on. He deserves to win here at the Kansas Speedway. As I'm looking at a driver that I'm just not sure what happened here tonight for Jose Gonzalez. This is a driver that is known to have a prowess for long runs. And the Dolphins number 26 mired back in 19th, just not having a good run. And I'm kind of surprised to see that he has not been able to make his way forward.
Makes me wonder. Let me go take a peek at something here really quickly, and I might have an answer for you.
And maybe he's had an incident along the way and he's trying to dig out of it.
Well, that and his Dolphins are now 19-6 right now on Monday Night Football, so that's probably not helping things right now. So, yeah, and unfortunately, he's in the 19th position right now. So the numbers are adding up here really quickly for Jose Gonzalez with 20 laps to go.
He's given chase to Kevin Stone, who's currently running in 18th, just looking to get to the checkered flag in the number 17.
As Mark Jorgensen, third position for him, with Karlovaj starting to chase him down, as this is going to be a battle eventually, because Karlovaj does have 3-lap pressure tires on the 88. Robert Friery there behind him, who's actually got fresher tires into both of them. So Friery might be looking at a top 3 finish here and putting an exclamation point on that final spot in the playoffs in that 77 car, having a fantastic run tonight.
Yeah, we talked about all night long the Talking Giants Camaro of Anthony Cantone, currently sitting in 6th. The longer the runs go on, the more struggles he's found. But the driver who we've seen figure it out is the 88. Jorgensen, currently running in 3rd. He's been lacking track position all along. We know from his second place starting spot that he's got speed on the short run, and if there were a caution to come late, he'd be a driver that may have a challenge here for these guys in a short stint to the finish.
Yeah, I'm saying anything can happen at that point as Montesi finally comes to pit road with 18 laps to go in that 4 car. So he gave it everything he could to stay on the lead lap and put himself in position for the best possible finish. But unfortunately, it's going to go for naught here, as Karlovaj trying to get to the 88, just not able to do so right now. Of course, Friery 1.3 seconds back. Anthony Cantone about 0.2 back from that battle. You mentioned Jose Gonzalez here. He's got a battle on his hands now, as he's got Kevin Stone to his outside. He's going to make the pass. The Stone's going to clock the wall.
I'm perplexed because, typically the number of times a broadcaster matches, says something about the potential for a caution, the curse comes about. We seem to have lost our mojo tonight.
I'm okay with it.
Wondering if we're going to get a late race caution.
I'm not trying to get the caution. I haven't really said.
I'm just saying that the number of times we speculated that it would be not unusual for a caution to come late and change the tenor of this race, and yet we remain clean and green. If you're just joining us, one caution, lap 18, where the 11 went spinning down to the back straightaway after getting squeezed, and Seth Foudy running 13th, 1 lap down, as your leader has lapped everybody up to the 11th car running the 00 of Doy Woods.
Now Montesi has taken his car behind the wall, but I see what's going on here, Kev. We're going to end up being the blame of some kind of caution jinx here all of a sudden when this thing's over with, because this is where I come back with the race in May had 6 cautions, and last season's race had 2.
A stage break or something? Sorry, Kevin King.
Did Beasley pay you off or something? What's going on here? That's good stuff.
I'm curious to see what's going to happen here with Mike Kelly. He's currently running behind and can see the leader. He's the first car 1 lap down. He was the driver we were looking at running alternative strategies here tonight. He pitted on lap 112 right behind Kevin King and finds himself now outside the top 10 after running in the top 3 for the whole part of this race. And he's even Steven with the leader on tires. He's still keeping pace with him, but he's lost a full track in position, and he's one that certainly would like to see yellow so he can come around and get himself back into the mix with the lead lap drivers.
Yeah, so King leads by 15 seconds over Justin Fuller, who's got 3.5 over Mark Jorgensen, who's got 0.3 over Jason Karlovac, who's got 1.3 over Cal Antoni, and then Robert Friery is catching at 84 for the 5th position here. Robert's got 0.9 of a second over Nelson Rivera, who's right behind him. Justin Mons in the 8th position right now. And then Chad Coleman, 9th. Scott Stenzel, your top 10 as we come to 12 laps to go. You know, everybody all the way, yeah, pretty much everybody's good to go to the finish. Seth Foudy's pretty much the only one that's close, and that's only because he pitted backwards, per se, like a road course, to try something different.
Well, the lap's winding down and drivers are reaching down across to see if they could find some roll bar padding or throwing out the water bottles. I don't know. Some of these drivers would probably be content with where they ride and just want to see this thing roll to the finish. I'm curious as to what goes on under the helmet of a couple of these drivers.
I don't want to know, to be honest with you.
I would imagine Justin Fuller, who is known as the short track ace, it can put together quite a charge on a short run. I'm betting that he would like to see a caution and get a shot at Kevin King on a short run.
Now, I will say Fuller is running faster laps, but you got to remember, King took 2 tires on his stop. So that's, I think, any kind of a caveat to him catching up now. It's because of the slightly used left side tires now on that 29 car. Yeah, pretty much everybody has spread out. I mean, this is your first battles right here now. Nelson Rivera's caught Robert Friery for the 6th position here, with Mons there behind him.
Yeah, and right in front of them, there's a 4-car train that they're going to catch up to, and you have to remember that as this run goes on, the cars start slipping and sliding, not handling as well. You're going to slide up into the wall if you make the exit of the corner, and it's just late in the going, and like I said, some drivers are thinking, please just let this go green, and others are saying, I would love to see a caution right now. I just love it.
Which category do you fall under, Kev?
I don't know.
8 laps to go is, well, speaking of 7th and 8th now, is Mons trying to get to the outside. Friery's tires might be throwing the white flag out there, as he's going to lose 2 positions here. But nonetheless, he is on his way to the playoffs unless something weird goes on here in the next 7 laps, as he has got, what, a whole 6 positions ahead of Randy Yoakum, and doing exactly what he needed to do in that 77 car tonight, which, you know, for him, is probably going to put a smile on his face to know that he's done 26 races here all season long and has battled so hard to keep himself in position to get into the playoffs, and here in 5.5 laps he's going to be on his way. And not to mention getting that win at the Milwaukee Mile back in the Xfinity Series a few months ago. Obviously going to be the highlight of his season, along with a trip to the Sim500 playoffs here this season.
Tell you, this battle back there for 5th, you know, drivers always think in 5s. I got a top 5, I got a top 10, I ran in the top 15, I'm in the top 20. Karlovac was underneath Nelson Rivera. They came upon Ron Hollifield. They were 3 wide over there, and Hollifield looked left, right, and pulled the parachute and let these 2 battle it out, as Rivera currently holding 5th. Karlovac was trying to chase him down, and as soon as Rivera got clear, he turned the wick up, and he's now trying to chase down Anthony Calantoni, who's trying to hold down 4th.
Calantoni trying to get the best finish possible in this 84 car. You know, now it's not really a matter anymore of what lap you pitted on. It's how hard you ran your car out, basically, on these tires, as You see Nelson move up about a half a groove. Going to get a pretty good run on that 19 degrees of banking part. But Calantoni, a good run off the corners. We come to 4 laps to go. And then back here, Mons has caught Karlovaj. So we got 2 battles, 4th and 6th.
High line, bottom line, you still see drivers leveraging whatever line suits them. Some drivers like that top line. They run along the seam in turn number 1. They don't want to get too high up there. It gets a little squirrely and you might slide up and catch the fence. And right now they've settled in nose to tail. Same for that battle out in front of them. Rivera not able to get around Anthony Calantoni, but I'll tell you what, I like to be in the chase position. I don't know why. It feels like you're in control of, I'm going to execute this pass, I just am sizing him up.
No, I agree. Yeah, because then you kind of have control of what you do to try to pass the car and not, you know, accidentally run over somebody or whatever. You don't want to pull that kind of move off, but at least you have control of what you do to try to set up the pass and not have to look in the mirror to see where this other guy's going and, you know, and that kind of thing. So totally understand that standpoint. But Mons has cleared Karlovaj, so is Fiery. Calantoni has held off Rivera, and we got 2 laps to go.
That's the time. I think when you get to 2 to go, you got to make your move. I finished 5th in this race on Thursday night, and I was in this position running the car in front of me, and I wanted to get around him, but I didn't want to give him time to run back to me. So I think for these final spots, it's now time to go get him.
As Kevin King on the back straightaway here on the final lap, as it has been a dominant effort, and tonight it will not be a caution flag that detains the 29 from going to victory lane here at the Kansas Speedway. After heartbreak back in May, he returns the favor here in September as King wins Kansas and goes into the playoff as a favorite to win the Sim500 championship. As we go back here into turn 3 and 4. In the 7th position, Robert Friery going to officially go playoff racing in the 77, as he should, and I say should because there's little things in there, put himself into the NC811 playoffs for 2024. We'll get that official here in just a moment, but obviously up front, it was the King clicking his heels in Kansas.
Great battle there for Nelson Rivera. He's going to have to settle for 5th as Calantoni was going to hold him off. They were down in the grass over there on the front straightaway, right across that drain pipe that's down there that makes the car hop. But both of them rode nose to tail, and Calantoni was able to hold them off.
Yeah,
great shot.
Yeah, great battle there. So King celebrates and already has his 6th mile-and-a-half win on a speedway here in the Sim500 career. And I say mile-and-a-half because in the stats I looked at earlier, it was all the mile-and-a-halves plus Michigan and Auto Club. So the mile-and-a-half and 2-mile tracks, the 6th win on that track. But when it comes to the season-wise, obviously, it continues to just be the Kevin King show here in Sim500 as he gets win number 15 after getting pole number 18 here this season. As he's done with his burnouts, let's take a look at the final results here. As King wins the final race of the regular season, as Justin Fuller will finish in the 2nd position. Mark Jorgensen Jr. off of his heartbreak the last couple weeks finishes 3rd, Anthony Calantoni 4th, and Nelson Rivera holds off Mons for 5th. Friery finishes 7th. Into the playoffs he goes. Jason Karlovaj 8th, Chad Coleman, Scott Stenzel, Doy Woods. Your top 11 of those on the lead lap. Mike Kelly 12th, Jose Gonzalez 13th, Patrick Colby 14th, and Randy Oakham 15th. And 16th goes to Seth Foundy, Kevin Stone 17th, Joey Jattina 18th, Gerald Livingston 19th, and Ron Holyfield 20th, Scott Simley 21st, David Comstock 22nd, Charles Van Schaik 23rd, Jose Medina 27th, Doug Sigmund in the 25th position, 26 to Bobby Wetzel, Brian Wortman 27th, Mark Schrader 28th, and the rest of the cars off the track, Mike Montesi, Mark Fish, Eric Arnold, Josh Parker, Kevin Brown, and Wesley Donaldson. As those guys will end up your 34 racers here tonight. As Mark Jorgensen tonight should be pretty proud of his effort here, I would think. Mark, usually a pretty positive guy when he's up here in the booth with us, and we'll see how he's feeling here right now as he joins us in the booth. Mark, obviously a top 3 finish for you, and more importantly, you run more than like 10 laps tonight.
Why you gotta say that?
I'm just being positive.
What's deal with all that other nonsense? Man, I can't believe we're going to talk about that. But
I was going to leave that alone, but I just wanted to bring up the fact that you actually were able to run laps tonight and not be taken out by somebody else's issues.
Oh, sometimes I think I cause my own issues. So
don't we all?
Well, I mean, saving tires is hard when you run against a lot of good guys in this league, and they want to go hard from the very beginning, right?
Right.
So you try to take care of your stuff and manage, and people are going to get into you. It is what it is. I know Bristol last week. I know that race is behind us, but I was really looking forward to it. But it's just a product of short track racing. So yeah, coming in tonight, I don't know what it is with this 1.5 mile track. I mean, I don't know when you got guys like Kevin King in the league and a few others. I just suck everywhere I go, just about. But it's nice to put something together, and I really wanted to do an interview with y'all, and I saw them guys coming. Well, I saw them guys behind me coming. I think Karlavage pitted a lap after I did, and he was coming hard. I really felt like once we got tires or laps on the tires, I was going to be able to hold him off, and I started driving away. But then you got guys like Anthony and Nelson and Justin Mons, them guys were coming, and I was like, oh my dude, my arms are jello. I had my tongue hanging out because, like I said, first and foremost, I want to come up here in the booth and have an interview with y'all. That it's fun to jaw jack with y'all and cut up and whatnot. So to put together a complete race, start to finish. How many seconds behind was? Oh yeah,
you guys were in the state of Missouri. He was in Kansas.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, that's awesome, though. I like those faster guys coming. I just don't know what I'm doing wrong. Obviously, I think I'm taking care of my tires, but obviously I'm not. So, we'll try again next week.
Well, obviously, a great finish for you coming up in the top 3. Of course, the strategies played out different. You had the guys that came to pit road there at lap 19 under the one caution. You stayed out, obviously, which, yeah, you guys still had to make it on 2 stops to get to the finish of this race. Was there ever the thought to pit under that caution?
No. I really thought that whatever Kevin King did, I was going to do. And, I really felt like there was going to be quite a bit of guys that was going to stay out. And, it was a little mixed bag, right? Guys stopped on that first stop. But, after that restart, man, just watching Kevin drive his car, and then he just set sail for the sunset and whatnot. So, we're back there, just battling for second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. And, I ended up going like 61 or 62 laps on that first stint before I pitted, something like that. And, 62 laps, and that was not the move. I think my right front was down to 19. I was telling the guys in the Discord. So I knew from that point, I was basically going to want to split it in half, for my next stop. That way I can kind of go a little bit harder, but try to still save. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was praying for a caution, to be able to put that last set of tires on just to see if maybe I could have, got a win or whatever. But, third place is still good. I mean, I would talk about points, but I'm out of the, I'm not going to advance to the playoffs because I missed too many races. But I'm going to try and do what I can to be spoiler, finish good, try to get me a win. It seems like the only way that's going to happen is if Kevin King just takes a couple weeks off or he gets wrecked out. But I really don't want to win that way. I want to win straight up. But got a lot of work to do still to get better.
Well, still a great effort by you tonight. Congratulations, and send some shout-outs to everybody too.
Oh, man. Captain Esports, y'all for the broadcast. Kevin, Chris, y'all are absolutely amazing, man. You know, even if I only put in 10 laps before I get wrecked, I still like to go back and watch the broadcast, man. I think y'all doing an amazing job. But y'all for putting on the broadcast, Sim500 for putting on this amazing league. You know, they give us a place to call home. You know, seems like, you know, with things that are in the works, you know, we're going to be racing, 4 times a week or something like that. So definitely looking forward to what's in the future with this league. All the series admins, all the guys that put these little events on for us, you know, within Sim500, you know, on the different multiple nights. Joey, you know, for being the main guy to put this league together. You know, he's got a bunch of great, amazing people behind him to support this league. NC811 for the sponsorship for our season. It's pretty amazing. You know, it sucks that they're going to be leaving at the season's end, but again, you know, it's always nice to see what's ahead of this league for the future. Man, my heavy right foot, but I don't know if I want to give too much praise to it because I was wearing that right front tire out. But you know, these hands for wheeling that 88 Diet Mountain Dew Chevy through the corner, and a smoking hot wife for letting me do this, you know, just about every night. And I think that's about it, man. I'm sure you know, all the guys on this league, man, you know, it's just an amazing group of guys, man. And you know, we're all very competitive, right? So, you know, there's going to be times where we get into each other. You know, we're going to, you know, at the heat of the moment, there's going to be some outbursts and whatnot. But, you know, we can always put that behind us when the next event comes and, you know, race hard and try again. So I love these guys so much, man. I love this league. You know, I know Joey worked on me for years and years and years to come back, and I am glad to be back. I'll give me a win one of these days, but like I told Joey at the beginning of the night, man, it's all for fun, man. You know, I enjoy it, even if I only put in just a handful of laps and then get jumped. But you know, it is what it is, man. I always look forward to the next event. So I know I'm getting long-winded. I know y'all got more guys to interview. Definitely appreciate what y'all do, Chris and Kevin. And man, we're gonna try next week to finish top 3 so I can talk to y'all again.
Well, we appreciate your time as always, man. It's fun to talk to you. I love the energy, and let's talk next week.
All right, thanks, Chris.
You too, buddy. As Mark Jorgensen Jr. finishing in the 3rd position. I love his positivity. I know I can kind of heckle him a little bit there, and he comes right back at me. It's kind of cool as so. But obviously, he finished his 3rd tonight, and obviously Justin Fuller finishing in the 2nd position tonight. We'll let you talk to him, Kevin.
Yeah, up 20 positions, finishes 2nd here tonight, and I have the pleasure of telling you, Justin, that the admins over the trailer have pushed the reset button on the point standings, and as we head into the championship run, I'm the one that gets to tell you that unofficially, you're 2nd in the stack as we head off to Talladega next week for the first race of the 2024 championship.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter too much, does it? I mean, I'm still, 40-something, 49 points behind Kevin, so... ultimately, it doesn't really matter for this round. Just gotta try and keep it clean and see if we can make it to the 2nd round. That's where all the marbles will fall. So, my hopes aren't high, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, certainly Kevin was lights out. But what I want to talk about is your race, top line, bottom line, tire conservation, coming back. In that first run, you had to really kind of run hard and sweep your way through the field. But then it seemed to be, after that first caution, certainly a tire conservation race. What was your tactic tonight? What was your strategy?
Well, I wrecked in qualifying, so I started in the back. So yeah, I kind of burned my stuff up on that first run. I kind of burned it up. I absolutely toasted my tires driving to the field. But we were able to make up a lot of ground, get our track position back. We had that caution, and then we stayed out because I felt it was too early to pit. And honestly, the tires were okay until like the last, 15 laps of the run, and I really fell off hard. I almost fell outside the top 10, but I just did a better job conserving the tires from that point on, and had really good pit stops, so I was able to leapfrog a lot of guys and manage the tires better so that they couldn't get back by me on the long runs.
We notice at this track that some drivers choose to shift down in the corners, tire wear, whatever it may be. What was your strategy tonight? Were you in fifth the whole gear, or were you changing gears when you needed to?
I was running 5th down the front stretch and 4th down the back. I was shifting down into 4th gear in turn 1, then just upshifting on the front stretch and back down into 4th in turn 1.
So here we are, the end of the regular season. It's been a mixed bag for you. You've had so many times, I know, the opportunity to talk to us, so it certainly hasn't been a disappointing season. What is your strategy heading into the championship run?
Just put together consistent finishes like we have the last few weeks here. That's what it's going to take, really. Got to keep the pressure on Kevin. It's not going to matter this round. It's going to be matter in the next round. But he seems to be by far and clear the obviously favorite. So let's see what we can do. Again, this cup car, it's just not my cup of tea. Horrendous in this thing, more than often than not. So we got to try and limit the mistakes is basically what I need to do.
Well, I think always a little critical, but that's the way you get better. And second place finish here tonight. And I know from the number of times we've talked to you, it's been a respectable common season. And now we head to the championship run. Everybody is pointing at you as one of the favorites. And we're going to wish you a lot of luck as we head into Talladega, Charlotte, Las Vegas, Richmond, Phoenix, and so on. In that first round, I expect you to be one of the strong ones. You want to give a shout out? Anyone you want to talk about here, Justin?
Yeah, well, thanks to you guys for running the broadcast. Thanks to NC811 for sponsoring the series. Thanks to everybody that watched. Thanks to everybody in the race. That was a good race. I mean, all those cars, one caution, so can't really be too upset about that. Thanks to everybody that watched. Thanks to Trey Atson for always keeping me looking good out here. All my teammates, Aftermath Motorsports. And special shout out to everybody that's been affected by the hurricane. That's a pretty tough deal. I know we got a couple guys that missed tonight because of that, and a couple guys that struggled to make it into the server and run the race because of the power outages and stuff. So it's really unfortunate. Hopefully they can rebuild and come back stronger. It's certainly a devastating time for those people, and I just want them to know that everybody's thinking about them.
There you go, and our sentiments are with that. Of course, we've talked about it during the show, is just a devastating time, especially for those in the Deep South, even down to Tampa and the Florida area that got struck. A lot of impacts there with the storm surge and such, and we're hoping the best as people try to recover from that, and we appreciate the words there, Justin. Good luck next week at Talladega. We'll see you in the championship run, as I'm going to turn it over to Chris, who's caught up with your winner, Kevin King.
Let me turn my mic on. Kevin King, obviously celebrating win number 15 here this evening. And Kev, I know we kind of mentioned it last week at Bristol, as this being that revenge race for the unfortunate circumstances back in May. But once again tonight, you put the whooping on the field and kind of setting that mark into the playoffs here tonight. And obviously a great race for you and another great win.
Yeah, sorry, my voice is gone for some reason. Yeah, I felt I didn't do as much practice as I would have liked, and ran one race yesterday and realized how tight it was, and I was like, oh my god, this thing's not fun, and changed my driving style a little bit to kind of fix that, and just try to make sure I didn't go really hard to start, and I think it worked out in my favor because I went green the entire time.
And obviously, I think that was kind of the answer I figured out when you took the two tires there on the last stop. I'm like, okay, he must be driving a very tight race car because he's probably trying to find a way to loosen this thing up.
Yeah, the two tires thing, I really thought Mike and a lot of those other guys that pit, they had a pit stop advantage. So I was just thinking, I went really hard to start, thinking like, okay, I'm going to need to close the gap on a whole pit stop. And for whatever reason, they pit again. So I really didn't need to change. I figured Justin would take two. So I just, I felt like two was a better scenario for me as far as the gap, and I can just maintain and run my pace. And so I took two, ran fifth gear pretty much the entire run. With like 5 laps to go, I got your tire's about to blow warning. So I backed it down pretty hard because I drove it super hard the first time to try to get the left rear worn out, and it worked out a little bit too much. But yeah, I just figured most people would take two, but I was really just banking on the guys that stayed out that first run. And I was just trying to, close the seconds as much as I could. I figured there's about 4 seconds or something to my advantage. So that was pretty much the reason why I did that.
Obviously, it worked out, and going to victory lane here tonight, you left everybody in Missouri while you were still in Kansas here tonight. So But nonetheless, man, you move on here, obviously, into the playoffs now, where anything can happen. We've seen here these last few weeks, minus the Watkins Glen race. I know you stepped away from the super speedways just to kind of take a break there for a second, but obviously Bristol was its own anomaly with the issues there. There are going to be some tracks here in the playoffs that, could, if you get some races like we had early in the season, have some cautions in them, put you mid-pack or whatever with pit strategy. This isn't necessarily something that, people might think you're going to walk away with, but not necessarily.
Yeah, I think anytime you have, limited tire sets where, like even tonight, a lot of guys gambled on 18-lap tires, and with only 3 sets, it was, I didn't think we'd go green all the way to the end just because it was pretty early. And I was like, okay, well, it made no sense to kind of pit. But, let's say they did. I mean, if they probably would have played it correctly, I felt like some of those guys who did pit for tires, or at least fuel, should have won that race, or at least been a lot better off. But yeah, that happens all the time. You just never know. Some guy's gonna, take some tires when you feel like because what I do is I calculate how much I want to run each stint, and if it's not even close, then I just don't even think about it. But some guy might gamble and we get a long run. Next thing you know, you're kind of screwed a little bit. So I don't think about it too much. I know it's something out there. But I kind of stick to my game plan as to what I feel is the right move for me. So I'm looking at Talladega's not going to be fun. I'm not a big fan of super speedways. Charlotte will be cool. Vegas should be fun. Richmond's fun for me, and then Phoenix obviously is one of my favorite tracks. So the barring the first race, I should be I'm feeling pretty good, and then of course the next set of tracks also kind of fit to kind of what my comfort zone is. So. I don't, I like every single guy in this league. Everyone's super respectful. So I enjoy racing against them. So I'm just, I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm happy the guys that come out and support it. It's pretty incredible that they have so many people just consistently just supporting this league. Shows testament to the guys in the league and the guys who run it. So yeah, just having fun, man. Just really enjoying kind of what I'm doing, and just, just trying not to take it too serious and going out there and just have as much fun as I can.
And that's all you can do, man. Well, congratulations, and obviously go rest that voice and some shout-outs real quick.
Yeah. RevGrips.com, Team Associated, J Concepts, the guys that kind of support things that I do on the RC car side of things. You guys for putting on the broadcast. I love going back and watching different strategies and see what's going on during the race and getting your perspective. All the guys in the league, again, super grateful for all those guys, again, to support the league as much as they do. And then Joey for just putting it on. He's doing an incredible job, and hopefully you guys keep supporting him. And he's got so many damn leagues. It's pretty amazing. He's got another one that's coming up, which is also pretty interesting. So he does a lot of good work, like I said, which is a testament to kind of how strong his league is. And I'm not sure, there's probably 1 or 2 out there that are probably pretty strong, but I don't know how many leagues run this many series and have a consistent number of drivers. It's pretty amazing. So appreciate those guys.
Great job tonight, man. Congratulations, and go rest.
Thank you.
Kevin King, a winner here tonight, he's that voice is about as probably worn out as the left rear tire was of his tonight. So congratulations to him on his 15th win here this season. And as I look at the races here, I was taking a peek real quickly at the schedule, and he mentioned the tracks on here. I mean, we've got, of course, Talladega coming up to start the playoffs off. I mean, this is right off the bat a race that can make or break somebody's season. This one race, if something goes wrong and you get a terrible finish, all of a sudden, Kevin, you're falling down the standings a little bit. And then, thankfully you get 2.5-mile tracks immediately after that with Charlotte and Vegas that, could be good. But then you get this wild card at Richmond, and then you get another potential wild card at Phoenix. Because those flatter, short track tending races, anything can happen at those kind of tracks. So this first round, there's a lot of potential ups, but a lot of potential downs at the same time.
Yeah, I think the drivers are going to look at this first 2 races as the races they need to get past. Talladega, you have no idea what's going to happen. And Charlotte tends to be Charlotte. The veterans really run well there. To me, Las Vegas, Richmond, and Phoenix all race somewhat similarly, and if you like one of those tracks, you probably like all 3 of them and have confidence run running all of them to a similar track when you get to Chicago land on the 11th of November. So hard to say, what do they say? Racing is a fickle beast. You have no idea whether you're just going to hit a good run or find your troubles. And really, for each of the drivers, they want to make sure that they can accumulate as many points as possible early on, so they don't have to sweat it going into Phoenix. And we look at the drivers who were trying to make their way into the top echelon tonight and unfortunately missed the cut, and they'll still be here to race next week, but woulda, coulda, shoulda on the season. And they'll look back, Chris, at all the things that happened and whether they could have done something better and improved their racecraft somewhere along the season. But you know what? It's just fun to sign in every night, strap up, and put the hammer down and go try and get whatever you can in the next race.
You know how you know when you're down a cylinder, by the way? He didn't even mention Richard Beasley one time. He's down a cylinder.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's take a look at the 20 drivers that will race for the playoffs starting next week at Talladega Super Speedway. As Kevin King is up there at the top, and he has got 49 points over everybody already. And that is all the wins, basically, that play a role here in that. So he's got a full race advantage. He could technically not even show up at Talladega next week and still be the points leader the following week at Charlotte. So Fuller, Mike Kelly, Tyler Dalton, Wesley Donaldson, Josh Parker, all the way down to the bubble guys we talked about. Randy Yoakum made it in. Scott Simley is in, which is funny because we thought Yoakum would actually be out in the end. But he made his way in. Scott Simley, Bobby Wetzel, Robert Friery, Patrick Colby, and Brian Wortman, unfortunately, the one guy out from that battle of drivers. So obviously disappointing for him. But you see the difference here. Now, the biggest difference between round one and round two, the points do not carry over into round two. So when we get to that final round of 5, everybody starts even with the same amount of points. So obviously get what you can get here, get to that top 10, and then from there, may the best man win. So should be a lot of fun as we head to Talladega next week, and I don't think that's going to change the racing one bit.
Yeah, I'd be scared to death. Our drivers going to get up on the wheel to just kamikaze in the next race, and some of them are going to hang back and take advantage of the chaos, or do you have to race as hard as you can from the drop of the green? I'd be perplexed as a crew chief what to tell my driver to do when the green comes out of Talladega next week. I have the best answer, and here it is. Ready? The best thing you can do next week at Talladega, tune into the Captain eSports Network to find out. That's the only way to find out. So, Kevin, appreciate your time, man. Obviously, as always, enjoy your rest of the week, and we'll see you next Monday. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Kevin England there. As we will go to Talladega next week. We're back on the air tomorrow night from Daytona, as a matter of fact. Should be a pretty fun race there. Get my Super Speedway voice worn back up for next week. So it should be a lot of fun. But more importantly tonight, as you go to bed, think about those down there in the southeast, North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, even parts of Florida, Georgia, anywhere from the Gulf up into the Appalachian Mountains there. Think about those who are affected by this Hurricane Helene that has caused a lot of just destruction and flooding, dam failures, and so much more. I'm going to reach out to people I know in Discord. If anybody has any ideas and wants to do something, you come find me. Message me on Discord, whatever. Hit up Joey. Have him come find me, whatever you got to do. Let's see what we can do to help out these people down there and stuff. And go from there. But definitely think about those tonight as we get the privilege of doing this while, a portion of our nation doesn't even have power, internet, let alone a house, and need I even say a town to live in anymore. So it's sad to even think like that. Man, it makes me want to change up what I usually say at the finish. Instead of saying this isn't just a game, it's iRacing, it just kind of gets back in my head of, in the end, it is just a game. Because we have a life to live. That's all it's worth. But I'll go ahead and say it. This isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain eSports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.